everyone, welcome back to another video of Books with Bella. So today we are going to be doing everything fall book related. In this video I'm going to walk you through my fall TBR list. I've already started reading some fall books, so we'll add those to the bullet journal and we are just gonna read some fall books. So to start off this video, I thought I would tell you guys my fall TBR list. So let's just get right into it. So my list is quite lengthy. I obviously will not get through all of these books, but these are just a bunch of books I wrote down that I thought would be good to read for the fall season. A new bookstore in the village I live in just opened. It's called Merit Badge Books. I have their little bookmark. So cute. I went in there recently and got a few books off my fall TBR list that I got started on, and so far so good. So let's just get into it. So my first book on my TBR list, because I already had owned this book, was The Housemaid, but the third book in the series. So The Housemaid is Watching. I actually just finished this book last week. It is so good, you guys. We will get into reviews later, but it was the perfect ending to this trilogy. The next book on my fall TBR was Layla by Colleen Hoover. I know that there was this huge debate, like Verity is like such like a unique for Colleen Hoover. What is the closest book to Verity written by Colleen Hoover? And I've heard that that is Layla, so that is on my list. The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. I ended up getting this at the bookstore as well. I really couldn't decide what books I wanted to get. I honestly ended up making my decisions based off of what that bookstore had. It's a very small store, but it's so cute. And I saw this and I'm really interested in it. And I at first thought this book was, which I still don't know what it's about, I haven't read it, but I at first thought it was about like, oh, dead romantics, like, oh, love is dead, like our relationship died, like hypothetically. But I think it's actually about like a ghost, like a dead person, like being in love with a ghost. Like, I don't know, I haven't read it, I don't know much about it, but I thought that was interesting, so I decided to try it. I also know that Ashley Poston has another book that I want to read called The 7-Year Slip. Another thing I had on my TBR was the Magnolia Park series. I don't know if it's necessarily fall vibes, but after watching a ton of like book YouTube videos, I found that this series was super popular and it just sounds like something that I really want to read. I love a good like romance series. So no, I'm definitely not going to get to it this fall, but I definitely do want to read the Magnolia Park series. My next book on my TBR was Regretting You by Colleen Hoover. The next thing I have is The Last Thing He Told Me by Laura Dave. The Guest List by Lucy Foley. This next book has been on my like want to read list since I started reading. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. The Lies You Wrote by Brianna Labusks. I don't know, but interesting. Definitely giving me spooky season vibes. Leigh Howard and the Ghost of Simon Pierce Manor by Sean Warner. So I heard of this book, I literally think on TV, like on the news or something, or maybe it was social media. This guy's book blew up on TikTok and like a bunch of people were reading it and supposedly loved it. I don't know, he's not like some big author, he was like just a small town guy. He published this book. Yeah, and I was like, I've always just kind of wanted to give it a try ever since I heard about it, so I put that on the list. I probably won't get to it this fall. A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I know this book is literally so popular and everyone loves it, but I have not yet read a fantasy book. I mean, in middle school I read the first Harry Potter book. I think in middle school I literally bought the whole entire Harry Potter series and didn't even finish the first book. I've not yet read fantasy. I don't know if fantasy is something that I'd be interested in. And I know a lot of people say that like, oh, they're not fantasy people, but they read this book and they loved the book. I thought fall would be a good time to try it if I got around to it. I have yet to get around to it. But again, I know people love it and I know it's a series, but I know that I could like just read this one and see if I liked it. I don't know, I haven't, some days I'm like, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna try it, and then other days I'm like, why waste my time? I don't know. If he had been with me, I've been wanting to read this one for a minute. Again, Spooky Vibes by Laura Nolan. Next, The Pumpkin Spice Cafe, which I am currently reading and I love. We'll get into reviews and stuff later. This is also a series. I think the second book is called like The Cinnamon Bun Bookstore, which I actually am very tempted to buy this fall season. Such a good cutesy fall vibe. And I also think there is a third book in this series, and it's a Christmas book. So that actually might be fun to finish this book, read The Cinnamon Bun Bookstore, and then by that time it will be holiday season for me and I can read the Christmas book. And then lastly on my TBR list is the Chestnut Springs series. So again, huge Sarah Caroli fan, and she loved the Chestnut Springs series. She talked about it a lot in her videos. It just sounded like something I would be interested in. It's like that small town romance, and I think this is like a country vibe, and I love that so much. That is my fall TBR. Let's add it to the reading bullet journal and totally fallify that journal up. Activity. So as we know, I finished The Housemaid is Watching this fall, and I just finished the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. So with that being said, we need to update my reading bullet journal. Pumpkin Spice Cafe review page. So let's get into it. Okay, so I just finished updating my reading journal, so I thought I'd give you a mini walkthrough right now. First and foremost, we updated the library, added the books to the monthly chart, and here is the fall TBR collage page, which I kind of love. Next, let's review the fall books I have read so far. So here is The Housemaid is Watching page. I gave it 4 stars. The author is Frida McFadden. The genre is thrillery. It's like a psychological thriller and mystery. There's 383 pages. I started it September 15th, 2024, and I ended it October 11th, 2024. So let's start off with my review. Said, I love that Frida McFadden created a 3rd book to the series. I think we all wondered what Millie's new life was going to be like when she moved into her own home. Frida is such a twister. I can never ever predict her books. Even when I think I got her, I don't. Throughout the whole book, it builds on this reality that it makes you believe. And then when you reach the end and all the answers are revealed, you are shook. I give this book 4 stars. I wish there was more to the ending. It almost seemed kind of rushed and at some points vague. And while I was reading the book, I wasn't really obsessing over it, and when I finished it, I wasn't sad or dying to read it again. However, I think Frida McFadden is a genius, and this is a brilliant series. Okay, so my main takeaway for this book is be mindful about who you trust / who you believe. Don't judge a book by its cover. You can't always believe what you see. Next, onto the Pumpkin Spice Cafe, which was just such a cutie book. So here is my Pumpkin Spice Cafe review page. I gave it 4 stars. The author is Lori Gilmore. The genre is romance. There are 343 pages. I started it October 11th, 2024, and I ended it October 19th, 2024. So I read this in like a week. It was just so fun and easy to read. So let me read you my review. Okay, I said that this was such a quick, easy, and fun read. It's the perfect book to get you into the cozy fall spirit. I love me a small town romance, bad boy meets good girl, boy falls first, blah 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 blah. While it's fall, I'm definitely going to go run and pick up the 2nd book in this series to continue my light-hearted Hallmark fantasies. So, just a light review. It serves the purpose it needs to serve. It's giving fall vibes, spooky season vibes, like pick this up around fall, Halloween time, give it a read. So my main takeaway for this book was you can't let your past control your future, nor can you make decisions for others based on assumptions. The insecurities we feel are only in our head. They are not how people portray us. Switching gears a little bit, I am currently reading The Dead Romantics. I am like a quarter way through, and so far pretty interesting. I'm excited to see where this is going to go. Halloween is in like 2 days. The spooky season fall books are slowly coming to an end. I am the type of girly to transition to Christmas immediately on November 1st, but book-wise, it seems like I'm going to be milking this out because I do want to read the Cinnamon Bun Cafe. So I probably will be milking out the fall books through this, and then one more, and then we'll be into Christmas. Okay, so I just finished up my bullet journal for the Dead Romantics. So I added the Dead Romantics to my 2024 library. I added it to my monthly tracker. Started 2 books in October, and its review page is up. So the book I read was The Dead Romantics. I ended up giving it 5 stars. Author is Ashley Poston. The genre is romance. 345 pages. I started it October 24th, 2024, and then I ended it November 6th, 2024. My review, I'm gonna do first. Once I let myself really enjoy this book, I ended up loving it. It was different than anything I've read, which made it that much more interesting. It was sad at times, but it was good and lots of lessons to be had in this book. I'm very pleased with the way it ended, and I'm so into Mr. Benji Andor. So, with that being said, my main takeaway was to stay true to yourself, and the love that is meant for you will find you. Different people come in and out of our lives for different reasons, and it all just becomes a part of our story. Kind of going into my reading experience with this, I had a hypothetical schedule in my brain of when I was going to read certain books, and I was falling behind schedule. And for that reason, while I was reading this book, I was reading it just to read it. I wasn't reading it to actually like enjoy the story. I was noticing that, and I was like, well, wouldn't that just be a waste of my time if I'm just reading it just to get the number down? I chose to read this book during the Halloween season because Dead Romantics, and I knew it was a paranormal romance, and I thought it would be fitting for the Halloween season. It's not necessarily like a Halloween book, but you know, just for like the spooky ghost aspect, whatever. Anyways, I really loved this book. And I remember starting it and I was like, this is actually a pretty interesting concept. Something I really enjoyed about this book, you go through her whole story. The main character, Florence, she is a writer and she needs to finish this book and she can't. She goes through this whole experience with relationships. By the end of the book, you wonder, was everything she went through just for the sole purpose of inspiration for her book? Like, did we just get put through all of that so she can finish her book? Or did we just get put through all of that to foreshadow her future? Like, when I was getting to the end, I was like, oh my God, I need to be humbled. I really, really, really enjoyed the way it ended, because there was moments of like, oh my God, ba ba ba, ba ba ba, my meaning before. Is this all this for this and this and this and this? It really makes you question. And I kind of like that, because in romances, we often know from the get-go who our female and who our male is, and they're going to be happily ever after at the end, which is why I like romances. I like the promise behind them. However, this book does have a lot of sad moments in it. I did find myself crying a few times, and I think that's also when I realized that this is a really good book that I am reacting like this. With that, that's why I really love this book, and I definitely recommend it. This is my first Ashley Poston book. I definitely plan to read more. With this video, it concludes my main portion of my fall reads, because now that Halloween has ended, we are transitioning into Thanksgiving and Christmas, which I'm so excited about. On the book standpoint, for my fall books, I read The Housemaid is Watching by Freida McFadden. I read The Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Lori Gilmore, and Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. Out of all three of these, I think I have to give the Dead Romantics first place. All these books are completely different, so they shouldn't even be comparable. They shouldn't. Out of all of these, the Dead Romantics was my only 5-star. I think I gave both of these 4. All were really good books, but as I said, all completely different. So I'm gonna give a first place to the Dead Romantics because it really was such a good story, perfect for this time of year. Even though it does take place in spring, I thought it was perfect for a spooky season. I'm gonna give second place, don't hate me, I'm gonna give second place to The Pumpkin Spice Cafe, and these are just my opinions. I am a Hallmark reader. I need a lighthearted, romantic, happily ever after book. Thrillers are gonna stress me the hell out, and it's a good book, but it's not overly like sensationally enjoyable for me. So I'm giving second place to The Pumpkin Spice Cafe. And then third place, I'm giving to The Housemaid is Watching. I loved the Housemaid series because they really are so good and so spooky and so well thought out and so unpredictable. And I love Freida McFadden for that. The only reason why I give this last place was because it's not a feel-good book. You're not reading this book to cozy up and feel good and run away from your daily life. You are reading this book because you're crazy. No, I'm just kidding. It's spooky, it's suspenseful, it's gory, it's dangerous, it's anxiety provoking, it's twisty, but it's good and unpredictable. You can't see it coming. And that's how Freida McFadden works. You think you got her, but you don't. We love an unsolvable mystery. And when she lays it all out for you at the end, you're like, no freaking way. As far as all of this goes, I super hope you enjoyed, and I hope this inspires you to read any of these books or get seasonal related books. It just makes embracing the season that much more fun. Because this is going to be the last fall video of the season, I kind of wanted to pay homage to my room and the decorations, and also I want to show you guys how I reorganized my books. Today is November 8th, so I think right after I finish this video, we're transitioning into Christmas. So that is my plan, at least to start today and take the weekend to transition over. I'm super excited, and yeah, I wanted to give one last tour. I know I made a video decorating my room for fall. You guys have not seen Halloween, and I thought I would do one last fall Halloween goodbye before we make the transition. Here are my floating bookshelves. I plan to maybe get more. I got inspiration off of social media, and I saw someone organize their shelves by color, so they color coordinated their shelves as best as possible, and I thought that maybe it would be a little bit more sleeker looking if I did so. However, I did not realize that I would have so many blue, for example, just a random example. There's room for growth here for sure. Let's take a look at the fall bed. My mom had just got me this turkey, and she got me that snowflake. This was all of my fall bedding. Here is my fall blanket, and my next read is the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore. Here is the Halloween decorated couch. We have the owl, the skull, the cat, and of course the pumpkin. I got these pumpkins from the Great Pumpkin Farm when I went with Cam. Super cute skulls, love those guys so much. And of course I added my little kitty and gold skull. I'm a sucker for gold and apparently skulls. And lastly, I added this jack-o'-lantern. And oh, I forgot, these little skeleton guys. That concludes the last fall video of the season. I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you so much for watching. Next time I see you, we will be in full-blown Christmas mode. Mwah!